My name is Emily Carter. I'm 27 years old, and this is the story of how I taught my toxic mother-in-law a lesson she'll never forget. It started with a fake breakup, but it ended. You want us to break up? Fine. That's what I told her. Right in front of the whole family. No shouting. No crying. Just flat, final, and devastating. I stood up, picked up my purse, and walked out the door while her jaw hit the floor. And that was only the beginning. Let me tell you how we got there, because this story isn't just about a breakup. It's about teaching a lesson to someone who never thought she could be wrong. My mother-in-law. She thought I wasn't worthy of her precious son. And maybe, just maybe, it was time she found out what life looked like without me in it. So let's start from the top. My fiancé and I have a really healthy relationship. We're not super traditional. He makes about 70% of our income, and I handle around 70% of the housework. He also helps out, and I work part-time too. It's not some strict rule, just a balance that works for us. We communicate, we respect each other, and we've built a routine that keeps both of us happy and sane. But apparently, that's just not good enough for her. My future mother-in-law? She's a different story altogether. From the start, she looked down on me. Not because I was rude. Not because I was lazy. But because I wasn't what she imagined her son should marry. She would say things like, "You're lucky he works so hard so you can play house. It's just a part-time job, right? So you have plenty of time to clean. When are you going to step up and act like a real wife?" Excuse me? My job might be part-time, but I work with the public, which is exhausting. I'm on my feet all day, managing rude customers and chaos. But to her? That wasn't real work. Real work was what he did, IT and tech support, at a computer all day. She expected me to come home and mop the floors with a smile, then serve dinner in pearls like I was in a 1950s commercial. I kept my cool at first. I didn't want to start drama. But the comments kept coming. It became clear that my MIL believed a woman's worth is in how well she serves her husband. She wanted a daughter-in-law who'd cook 3-course meals, clean up after everyone without being asked, and stay silent during man talk. She'd say, "My son needs a traditional woman. One who knows how to take care of a home." What she didn't get was that I was taking care of a home, just not the way she wanted. And my fiancé? He was fine with that. In fact, he was proud of me. He'd often tell her, "We split things how we want to, not how you think we should. She works hard. Stop disrespecting her." But no matter how many times he backed me up, she kept undermining me. In her eyes, I was a temporary inconvenience. Not a partner. Just someone taking up space until he came to his senses. Now, most people would say, just cut her off. Believe me, I wanted to. But here's the problem, it wasn't that simple. My fiancé is close to his dad. He's also really tight with his brother and sister-in-law. And guess what? His brother's wife, my Sael, is one of my closest friends now. So going no contact would have meant giving up them too. And I wasn't willing to do that. Not yet. But something had to change. Because the stress? The little comments? The passive-aggressive digs? They were starting to eat at me. One day, after a particularly nasty dinner where she called me useless for not ironing his shirts, I sat down with my fiancé and said, "I'm done letting her walk all over me. Either she backs off, or we make her wish she had." That night, something changed. My fiancé looked me dead in the eye and said, "What if we didn't fight her? What if we gave her what she wanted?" And I blinked, confused. "You mean, break up?" He nodded. "Fake it. Just enough to scare her. Make her realize what she's pushing away." And that's when the wheels started turning. We brought in my brother-in-law and Sael. They were thrilled to help. My Sael especially, she had her own stories about Mil's judgment and interference. Together, we cooked up a plan that would leave my Mil speechless. The opportunity came faster than expected. New Year's Eve. We were all gathered at her house. She made her classic snide remarks throughout dinner. Still working that little part-time job? You know, he could be living in a beautiful clean house with someone who cares. That was it. That was the moment. I glanced at my fiancé. He gave me the tiniest nod. Showtime. I put down my fork, stood up calmly, and said, "You're absolutely right. I'm clearly not the kind of woman he needs. So I'm going to do what you've always wanted." I turned to my fiancé and said, "We're done." His eyes widened in perfect, Oscar-worthy surprise. "What? No, wait, please," he started stammering. The table froze. I grabbed my bag and walked out the front door while the entire room went dead silent behind me. And her face? Priceless. Because what happened next? That's where the real chaos began. Last time, I stood up at the New Year's Eve dinner table, looked my fiancé dead in the eyes, and said the words my mother-in-law had been dying to hear. "We're done." Her smug face fell flat. My fiancé fake begged me to stay. I stormed out in front of the whole family. And that? That was just the beginning. Because what she didn't know was that this entire disaster was orchestrated by me, my fiancé, my brother-in-law, and his wife, to teach her the harshest lesson of her life. As I walked out the front door, I didn't look back. But I wish I could have seen what was happening inside that house. Because later, I got the full play-by-play, and it was wild. My fiancé pretended to completely lose it. He collapsed back into his chair with a shaking voice, begging my Mil to call me, fix things, do something. "Why did you say that to her? She's gone now. Is that what you wanted?" Meanwhile, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law? They jumped in like actors in a courtroom drama. My Sal turned to Mil and said, "Are you happy now? You finally got what you wanted, now your son's heartbroken." And then, to add flames to the fire, my brother-in-law dropped the unexpected bomb. "Is this because she's not white enough for you or something? Are you being racist right now?" Mil's face? Apparently ghost white. Now, just to be clear, she's never shown any real racism. But that accusation? That hit her hard. And it worked. It rattled her. She started backtracking. Panicking. Denying everything. Begging everyone to calm down. But it was too late. The trap had been sprung. Later that night, my fiancé called me privately to say it worked. She's freaking out. I'm moving back in with her tomorrow. That was our next move. He was going to move back into his childhood home, not because we had broken up, but because he was going to give her exactly what she thought she wanted. A son without me. Except this time, she would have to deal with him. From the moment he walked back into that house, he flipped the script. He became a monster of neediness. Suddenly, he didn't know how to cook. Didn't know how to use the washing machine. Didn't know how to iron his shirts or do the crossword puzzles we used to do together. "Mom, can you help me steam this shirt? Can you cook something for dinner? Do you know the capital of Kazakhstan? I need help with this crossword clue." He turned into a 6-foot-tall toddler. And Mil? She was not ready. She had always believed her son was self-sufficient, because I was doing all the invisible work. Now, with me gone, every tiny task fell on her. The woman who once mocked me for not doing enough around the house was now cooking, cleaning, ironing, and answering trivia questions every single day. And the best part? He never thanked her. He acted entitled. Exhausted. Clueless. Mil cracked by day 3. That's when the calls started. At first, she called him, suggesting he talk to me. Then she started calling me. I ignored every single one. She left voicemails filled with fake sweetness. Hi sweetheart, just wondering if you're okay. I'm sorry if I was a little harsh. Can we talk? Please? She even sent me a Facebook message, which she swore she'd never use. I didn't respond. She texted my Sael. She texted my mom. She was spiraling, and it was everything I dreamed of. Because for once, she had no control. She had no power. Just chores. Just guilt. And her favorite golden boy? Was making her life miserable. Word spread quickly through the family. Cousins, aunties, and even my fiancé's dad started whispering about the breakup. Some took sides. Some were confused. Some tried to play peacemaker. But no one could fix it, because the only people who could fix it were staying silent. My fiancé continued the act with perfection. He'd sigh dramatically during family dinners. Mention how much he missed her. Leave the room to cry. Ask his mom if she could please start steaming his pillowcases like I used to. Emael was so fried, she asked Siri how to get mascara stains out of bed sheets. My Sael said she was walking around like a ghost in her own house, mumbling, distracted, constantly trying to reach me. By day 6, she was snapping at everyone. She even yelled at her husband and cried into a bag of frozen peas. She sent me a bouquet of flowers with a handwritten note. I miss having you around. You bring so much balance. Balance? The woman who called my job a hobby and said I was a bad influence on her son now missed my balance? That note went straight to my trash. And I didn't even sniff the flowers. Then came the final straw. Day 8. I was at work, sipping coffee during my break, when my manager said, "Hey, there's someone asking for you at the front." I stepped out. And there she was. Standing in front of my job. Red-eyed. Hair frizzy. Wrinkled sweater. A gift basket in one hand, and shaking fingers clutched around a note. I should have walked away. But curiosity got the best of me. She looked up and whispered, "Please, can we talk?" And what she told me next was a confession so shocking, so insulting, that even I couldn't believe it came out of her mouth. But it changed everything. Because sometimes revenge isn't just about making someone suffer. It's about making them realize why they deserved it. I walked out. She got what she wanted. And for the first time, my mother-in-law was forced to live with her decision. But then came the twist she never expected. My fiancé, the man she thought she could separate from me, moved back into her house and turned her peaceful world into chaos. And by day 8, she showed up at my job. Tear-stained. Gift basket in hand. And ready to beg. But I wasn't ready to forgive her. Not even close. Let me rewind a bit. When my fiancé moved back in with his mom, she was thrilled. At first. She believed she had one. She thought she finally got her son back, and got rid of the woman she never wanted around. But it didn't take long for the cracks to show. Within 24 hours, her illusion shattered. Suddenly, all the things I used to do, quietly, without complaint, were now her problem. Steaming his clothes for work? Gone. Cooking dinner after a long day? Gone. Helping with his ridiculous New York Times puzzles every night? Gone. He asked her for help, and expected it. The way she expected me to do it all for him. And let me tell you, she cracked fast. He started small. "Mom, can you make something gluten-free for dinner? You know I get bloated." "Mom, I can't find my black socks. Can you do laundry?" "Mom, I miss our crosswords. Can you sit and do this one with me before bed?" She tried to keep up. She really did. But by day 3, her energy was gone. And that's when my fiancé turned it up a notch. He started waking her up early with urgent problems. He left his towels on the floor. He refused to eat leftovers. He texted her constantly while she was out running errands. He turned into everything she thought I was, and so much worse. And the best part? He never acknowledged that anything had changed. To her, it looked like he was just being himself without me around. She didn't realize it was all calculated. By day 5, my sister-in-law texted me, "Your Mael just screamed into the fridge." She told the chicken to go cook itself. By day 6, she was begging my Sael for advice. How did she manage him all this time? Why did he act so normal with her around? The answer? Because I wasn't the lazy gold digger she painted me as. I was his partner. I balanced him, helped him, supported him. But she couldn't see that through the lens of her toxic expectations. And now? She was living in the wreckage of her own assumptions. And that leads us to day 8. I was at work, trying to enjoy a peaceful break, when my manager waved me over. "There's someone outside asking for you." I stepped into the lobby, and there she was. My mother-in-law. No makeup. Puffy eyes. Wrinkled cardigan. Her hair in a knot that said, "I haven't slept in 3 days." In one hand was a large gift basket filled with C's candy. In the other, a folded note. She looked at me like a child trying not to cry in front of the principal. "Please," she whispered. "I need to talk to you." My first instinct was to walk away. But I stayed. Just to hear what lie she'd spin this time. Instead, she surprised me. She said, "I thought you loved him enough to take whatever I threw at you. I assumed you'd never leave, because you wanted to please him." I blinked. She kept going. "I didn't want you gone. I just thought if I pushed you hard enough, you'd do more. More for him. So he could have more time for me." Wait. Hold on. Did this woman just admit that she tried to manipulate me? That all her insults, her pressure, her passive-aggressive nonsense, was her way of making me more useful to her son? Oh, it gets worse. She took a shaky breath, eyes glistening with tears, and said, "He's lazy. You were doing so much, and I didn't even realize it until you left." Boom. There it was. The perfect son she praised constantly? Now suddenly she was calling him lazy. It was surreal. The same woman who once looked me in the eyes and said, "If you loved him, you'd take care of him properly," was now standing in front of me saying, "He's too much. I can't keep up. I didn't realize how much you did." And then she cried. Right there. In front of my job. Sobbing over a gift basket and a confession she never wanted to admit. Later that night, when I finally got home, my fiancé called me. He had one question. Did she show up with the candy? I paused. Yes, wait, you knew? He laughed. I started going extra hard after day 2. I missed you, but I also wanted her to suffer just a little more. So she'd break faster. He admitted it like a chef describing his signature dish. Every demand, every helpless moment, every passive-aggressive sigh, it was all part of his master plan. He wanted her to feel what I felt for months. And now, here she was. Apologizing. Admitting guilt. Bringing chocolate as an offering of peace. But the question was, would I forgive her? Should I go back? Or let her live with the consequences of her own cruelty? Because sometimes, an apology doesn't mean you're off the hook. It just means you finally realize you were wrong. That all her insults, her pressure, her passive-aggressive nonsense, was her way of making me more useful to her son? Oh, it gets worse. She took a shaky breath, eyes glistening with tears, and said, "He's lazy. You were doing so much, and I didn't even realize it until you left. Boom. There it was. The perfect son she praised constantly? Now suddenly she was calling him lazy. It was surreal. The same woman who once looked me in the eyes and said, "If you loved him, you'd take care of him properly," was now standing in front of me saying, "He's too much. I can't keep up. I didn't realize how much you did." And then she cried. Right there. In front of my job. Sobbing over a gift basket and a confession she never wanted to admit. Later that night, when I finally got home, my fiancé called me. He had one question. Did she show up with the candy? I paused. Yes, wait, you knew? He laughed. I started going extra hard after day 2. I missed you, but I also wanted her to suffer just a little more. So she'd break faster. He admitted it like a chef describing his signature dish. Every demand, every helpless moment, every passive-aggressive sigh, it was all part of his master plan. He wanted her to feel what I felt for months. And now, here she was. Apologizing. Admitting guilt. Bringing chocolate as an offering of peace. But the question was, would I forgive her? Should I go back? Or let her live with the consequences of her own cruelty? Because sometimes, an apology doesn't mean you're off the hook. It just means, you finally realize you were wrong. She stood there, my mother-in-law, at the front of my job. Eyes swollen. Makeup gone. Hair a mess. Holding a gift basket in one hand, and her pride in the other. She had finally broken. And as she cried in front of me, she confessed everything. I thought you'd take whatever I gave you. I thought pushing you would make you do more for him, so he'd have more time for me. That's when I knew. She didn't hate me. She envied me. She resented the bond one had with her son, and tried to break it out of sheer selfishness. But it cost her everything. She stood there for what felt like forever. I didn't mean for you to leave, she said. I just wanted things to be easier. For him. For me. I looked at her, really looked at her. This woman, who had made me feel small for months. Who had ridiculed my job. Undermined my relationship. Dismissed everything I did as not enough. Now she was crumbling under the weight of her own expectations. And she wasn't just sorry because she missed me. She was sorry because, for the first time, she realized that without me, her son wasn't the perfect little prince she thought he was. I didn't say much in that moment. I didn't need to. Because silence hurts more than screaming ever could. She sniffled, nodded slowly, and placed the gift basket down on the bench. He still loves you, she whispered. He's not the same without you. Then she turned around and walked away. It was the quietest I'd ever seen her. No snide remarks. No forced smiles. No passive aggression. Just silence. And defeat. Later that night, I got a call. It was my fiancé. I answered. There was a pause, then a soft voice. She told me she saw you. I nodded. She cried. Yeah, he sighed. I know. I heard her on the phone with my dad. She said, she's never been more embarrassed in her life. Good, I replied. He chuckled. Then, after a beat. I miss you. I took a long breath. I know. I miss you too. And I did. Even through the chaos, the drama, and the game we had played, we were still us. Still the couple that made each other laugh at 2 a.m. Still the team that balanced each other in ways no one else understood. Still the two people who built a relationship on mutual respect, until someone else tried to tear it down. That's when he told me everything. He said, at first, I just wanted her to suffer a little. But after the second day, I realized something. I realized how much you protected me. Protected you? I asked. Yeah. From her. From the weight of her expectations. You took on so much just to keep peace between me and her, and I never realized it. I didn't want you to hate her, I said quietly. You shouldn't have had to protect me from my own mom. But you did. You shielded me, and I let you carry that burden alone. There was silence again. The kind that feels heavy. I want you back, he said. But only if you want me. And if we're going to do this again, we're doing it our way. No more tiptoeing around her. And that's when I realized. This whole plan? It wasn't just about revenge. It wasn't even about making her pay. It was about finally reclaiming the voice I had been swallowing for months. It was about forcing someone to see me, not just as a girlfriend or potential wife, but as a whole person with value, worth, and limits. It was about showing her that if she kept pushing, eventually, I'd walk away. And I wouldn't look back. So, what did I do? I said yes. But not the same yes I would have said before. I said yes with boundaries. With new rules. We moved back in together, but not before sitting down with his entire family and laying down the law. His mom? She didn't say a word. She just nodded and handed me another box of candy. This time, it wasn't an apology. It was surrender. If you've made it this far, here's what I want you to remember. Sometimes, people only see your value when you're gone. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't screaming or fighting. It's walking away and letting them feel the silence you leave behind. You don't have to prove your worth to people who refuse to see it. You don't have to bend until you break just to make someone else comfortable. You deserve to be respected. You deserve to be heard. You deserve a partner, not just in love, but in life. To anyone dealing with a toxic in-law, a judgmental parent, or anyone who makes you question your worth, this story is your reminder. You are enough. And if they can't see it, show them what it looks like when you're gone. Thanks for watching. If this story hit you hard, drop a red heart in the comments and share your own story. And if you enjoyed watching Karma in action, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and turn on the notifications, because trust me, I've got more where that came from.